Ah! Okay, I'm getting it. Okay, cool. So it's been a while since last I posted one of these, and that's because it's been quite busy. When you start a PhD, especially well where we are, you do what's called an application for registration. It has different names elsewhere, but basically it's not enough that I'm enrolled as a research person. My project has to be approved. So in 2 weeks, I hand in my AFR, which includes an updated proposal, including ethics and methodology and a work plan for the whole time. So it's actually been a lot of like reworking of what am I actually doing and narrowing it down and honing it down, which I'll get back to once it's been approved. There's been some interesting other developments with the project itself. I made 2 more shorts. Uh, and one of them. Okay, so previously on Dr. Filmmaker, we made a lot of short films that did not work, right? So we made one where the handheld camera just makes you want to throw up, and we made one where the people are way too close to the camera, so the distance is messing with you when you're in a slightly real environment because of the head-mounted display. And what was the third one? I don't remember what the third one was. I made a lot of stuff. Anyway, also made a feature film in between here with some students. It's been a crazy autumn. Anyway, so the point is, I used the first 3 films to make like a rules for how to shoot these things, which I'm kind of calling frameless formalism, which kind of sounds like it could be the title for the finished project when we get to the end. Maybe. My project has changed title into. Yeah, it will probably change again. Anyway, so the rules I made are as follows. And the difference, the things that have changed, like I knew about the proximity, but I needed to see it for myself. I knew about the handheld, but I needed to feel it for myself. The things that were kind of new to me in this process is that we got to the point where I was like, okay, how much space do I need? How much peripheral view do I actually need for this to work in a head-mounted display? And the discovery was, if you use a rule of thirds grid and you frame everything in the center ninth, let me try to do that in here, and that contains the image you want people to watch, then it works, as long as you remove any and all distractions from the other squares. Which is a really handy rule for how to approach filming it, because now I can put a center dot in and a rule of thirds, and I put the center dot between the eyes of the person I want people to look at. Because we've already also made the discovery that you have to dead center something the whole time. As soon as they walk out of frame, you try to follow them. So people walking in and out of frame is not good. So in essence, the visual restrictions of frameless narratives, they may actually be a hindrance to emotional immersion, because it does stop me from using close-ups. It stops me from using camera moves the way I like to. But that's the thing that's going to be interesting this spring, because now that I've kind of shed away everything that doesn't work, we can start building up and using the other ones, the other elements like sound, like score, like lighting, and can they be enough to compensate, kind of thing. So yeah, I made 2. One of them is 2 people sitting around at a table. I actually didn't make it alone. I said to one of my students that, I think the only thing that's going to work is 2 people sitting around a table talking. She said, I have a script like that. So she actually directed it, and I shot and produced it. It's just like a 4-minute, quick and easy. It took us 4 hours to make, start to finish. But it works. It's the first short film that we've made that actually works in head-mounted display. Interestingly, it's more boring than the screen version of it, because the few close-ups do so much, and actually not just the close-ups. The frame lets me kind of it gives me license in a way to explore, not explore, analyze and look at the expressions and pauses and analyze what's going on in the image. When I'm there in the head-mounted display and I'm in the image, the peripheral vision is kind of distracting me from like focusing in, even though I've eliminated all other things in the other quadrants in the rule of thirds grid. There is still like you can't turn off the fact that evolution has made your peripheral view be an alarm system for danger. So when the other guy's hands is visible all the way down at the edge of frame like this, in the head mounted display you'll go, oh, instantly activated towards it. So where I thought that frameless, this is not a finished thought, by the way, but my thinking is that frameless could be a good replacement for cinema because it removes all distractions. It does seem like peripheral view is actually just adding a different kind of distraction, and the frame of a framed storytelling doesn't just allow you to do composition and punch in close on things and do the camera moves you want and everything, but it actually removes distractions. Like the black void of a cinema is necessary, maybe. Still not a finished thought. But you know, this is what critical evaluation is. You're kind of forming things as you go. I assume that's correct. Somebody might just go, what are you doing? You're doing it wrong. I think everybody who does a PhD feels like that all the time. What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Don't worry, everybody feels like that. If you don't feel like that, you're probably either a narcissist or insane. I should cut that bit out. Anyway, I have a list of things I was going to talk to you about. And I think I've been through all of it. Yes, no. I listened to a podcast with a guy who shoots a lot of stuff for Apple Vision Pro, meaning, you know, VR 180 3D. And he was asked where he sees this going next, and he said he doesn't think it's going to work well for narrative, which is really interesting because that's kind of what I've been saying about VR in the literature review that I started. I have a whole chapter called Why I'm Not Making VR, because it's the wrong kind of reality. I talked about that in another short film here video, I think.
Because the strength of narrative short films isn't that it tries to like be reality, but that it feels like how your dreams and thoughts and memories work. It's way more its closeness to your brain, actually emotions, that makes films powerful for me than its ability to represent reality.
So the answer to his question was he thinks that the things it's going to work the best for is situations where you are in it. So a live event, a live concert, sports, that kind of stuff. Which had me thinking, that's not narrative filmmaking. And this project is, at least for now, about narrative filmmaking. If all of my projects fail in the next 6 months, I may have to rethink that approach. But for now, it's all about narrative filmmaking. And I was thinking about what can I get to work in this context then? And I was thinking about this kind of stuff. Talking heads. That might actually work, because if the restrictions are so strict that I can't tell the story with the camera, then at least you can sit there being told a story by a human. So I knew my wife, who is a filmmaker and actor, had a monologue kicking around. So we dug it out and dusted it up together, and she co-directed a monologue that she did directly to camera. And we put her in on a black background, so she's basically just a human in a black void, bringing back in the black void of the cinema inside the way it's filming. Again, extremely restrictive and does not work for many of the genres I'm supposed to be testing in this project, but it worked. And that is the first piece of media I've made in this project where I actually think it's better in the head-mounted display than in the screen version. Because whereas on the screen version, the black background just reads as flat, in the head-mounted display, you're just confronted with this one person talking directly to you, and it's quite moving. It's quite good. Also added a very gentle digital zoom, so she comes over the course of the, I think it's 4 minutes. She comes slowly closer, and you can't notice it, but you just end up right at the edge of the proximity that you can handle. Yeah, that's using, filmmaking techniques in the new medium. I should write that down in my evaluation. I haven't written that. Anyway, yeah. Quick check of notes. Black and white. I don't know what it says here. Oh, it says reality. Yeah. So in the next coming months, I'm shooting one short film in January, which I'm really looking forward to, which is 3 people having a heated argument, which makes the camera move more. So we're like building back out again from the completely standstill lockdown camera that we did in the 2 people sitting around a table. And then I'm doing another experimental short film with one of my students in February, where we try again to do close-ups, but going so close that the close-up becomes a landscape, if that makes sense. I think it will make sense. Basically, you need to make sure you're so close, you're no longer bothered by proximity. You know what I mean? And then in Easter, we're doing a drama film, like straight up drama with a bit of action in it. And then doing 2 comedies in May, and then another action in June if all goes to plan. And when I'm finished with all of that and we get to the autumn, then the first testing on audience is going to happen. But you see me a long time before then. Anyway. This felt very, very rambly and long, and I think it was. So if you have any questions, fire them at me, and I'll try to answer them more succinctly than this video was. Thank you very much, and Happy New Year.